been asked to slow down.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. For today's Fitness Friday video, I wanted to do a vlog on just what to do when you're having a bad body image kind of day. You know, those days where you just feel bloated and gross, or maybe you don't even feel bloated and gross, but for some reason mentally maybe you're just being really hard on yourself. You're constantly kind of checking yourself, specifically your body, and I think that this is a very common thing to experience. I don't think it's something that we always talk about because one, it would come with needing to admit that we're feeling insecure, which makes us vulnerable, so people don't want to do that. I think the other reason why though is because when we admit that we're being insecure, that we're feeling some kind of way, it's like we're also admitting that we have basically accepted a different expectation of ourselves than what we already are. So basically we're rejecting ourselves. You go through phases and days, I'm sure, where you feel totally confident and totally fine, and then days where you don't. Sometimes those days where you don't and those days where you do can start to tack onto each other, which is great when you're feeling good about yourself, but it's not so great if you've had a couple days in a row tacked onto each other where you're not feeling so good about yourself. So when you're outside of your comfort zone, your brain automatically is gonna go to anything it can and grasp at anything it can to make you feel comfortable and good in yourself. And the thing that's a problem is that a lot of the times it grasps for the really unhealthy habits and routines and things that are usually kind of projected onto us, or things that we learned at young ages that weren't so healthy. For instance, like if you're having a bad body image day, there can be that pressure like, oh, okay, I have to make sure I eat really healthy today, or I have to make sure that I don't eat as much as I normally do. Things like that. I think that those are the types of habits we need to break, and instead this is going to be a palate refresher, if you will. It's not about not having days like this, because everybody does, and it's an inevitable part of life that sometimes we just feel this way, and that's okay. We have to like accept that part of the human experience, and with doing that, then we can have, you know, tools in our toolkit that we can use on days like this so that we take the best care of ourselves, because that's the main goal here. So my first tip is to wear your comfiest and cutest clothes. And I say that because, you know, if you have an outfit dedicated or set aside for days that you know you're kind of feeling either bloated, or just in general you're just kind of having an overall like uncomfortable in your body type of day, when you have an outfit set aside for that, it just takes all of that pressure off yourself again. And if you don't, let today be the day that you dedicate that outfit that just makes you feel comfortable. But I put the cute part in there, not because you have to. You can definitely just go straight comfort, but for me, I actually find it makes a very big difference on my mental attitude and on my mood for the day when I feel cute. If I put on like matching colors or things like that, just something that makes it feel like I still put in an effort, but I'm so comfortable. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm just about to do my yoga, and I figured this is cute enough, you know, and I'm comfortable enough. After my yoga, I'm going to be taking Bentley for a walk, so I'll share with you guys a different comfy outfit, but just again, like just to give you guys some ideas, some scaled ratios of what I'm talking about.
Who care for the world now? Rest with me, close to curtains, brew some herbal tea, reach out for me, take my hand and lead even when I disagree.
I like to do this thing where I call it stop, drop, and root. Not just when I'm having like bad body image days, but just anytime I'm catching myself either feeling anxious or just like getting myself worked up. Stop what you're doing. Even though I'm saying like drop into your inner self, I guess what I mean more so is take an observer mindset, or kind of go like above, float above what's going on and look down upon yourself as if you're like an old version of you or the young kid version of you. So you just like, you sink in, you know, root to the truth. Once you've pulled yourself away from the emotion you're feeling, it's a lot easier for us to remember the truth. For instance, a good example of using the stop, drop, and root would be if you were scrolling on Instagram and you come across a photo that instantly just makes you feel like, first of all, like you're comparing yourself to this woman's body, but also secondly, like let's say she's she's relatively really thin, and that's not the way you look. And so you start to feel yourself, maybe you don't even notice that this is what's triggering it, but you start feeling warm or anxious or irritable or whatever. If you were to stop, drop, and root, you would stop what you were doing, so stop scrolling on Instagram, you would drop within yourself and you would root to the truth. The truth being that I think the first thing I always like to ask myself, specifically when I catch myself comparing myself to other women, is one, do I know what her lifestyle is? Because the odds are no. And I'm not saying this is the case for everybody, but I think that a lot of, specifically I guess like celebrities and things like that, a lot of the times we don't see the types of foods they eat. We don't know if they're even adequately nourishing their bodies. We don't know how healthy they are. We're just looking, we're taking a physical representation and then taking all of the feeling out of it. So first of all, I guess rooting to the truth is rooting to the feeling behind, like, you don't know how that person feels. Another thing you can root to on bad body image days is that you were not placed on this earth to appeal to other people. If you're a woman watching this, you were not put on this earth to shrink your body into this tiny little frame or cage because that's what society told you to. That is not your truth. That is society's ugly truth. This might be a bit more like, I guess, trigger warning. I should have started the video with a trigger warning, but another truth that I like to remind myself when I stop, drop, and root is how miserable I felt when I was constantly hungry, when I was constantly starving, how just like uncomfortable I feel even thinking back on the mindsets I used to have and how mean they were internally with myself, and even just how like I just felt so mentally sick when I was not taking care of my body, not just physically sick. So trying to remember that, to not glamorize any kind of unhealthy, unrealistic standard for your body. Another thing you can root to is all of the things that your body does for you, including right now in this moment. Your body is breathing, your body is blinking, your body is fighting disease, your body is constantly regenerating itself. Your body shows up for you every single day so that you can experience life. The body is the veil between you and life experience, and you're feeling everything through your body. We're rooting and remembering that really connects that relationship back together, that you and your body are a team, not, you know, enemies. The other root that I love, and I feel like this one always works the fastest for me, is rooting to the feeling I had when I was a little girl. Like the feeling I had when I was just a small little kid that didn't think about counting calories, that didn't think about comparing my body, like didn't look at my body through such a sexualized perspective or filter, or didn't look at my body, or didn't even think about my body, like just literally was living her best life, was out there playing, was out there using her body rather than obsessing over it and like letting it hold her back. Whatever was making me feel really crappy before I stopped, dropped, and rooted, it just seems so small in like the bigger grand scheme of life. There's so many other things you can root to. You'll probably come by many. I highly recommend, if you guys are bullet journalers or journalers, that when you do hit a root that really works for you, to write it down, because you can use it later on. And also, if you guys have any roots that you want to share, feel free to comment them down below so that we can all share all the little truth roots that we use whenever we stop, drop, and root. Anyway, I'm gonna take Bentley for a nice grandeur walk. If I say it normally, he will know exactly what I'm saying and he'll just start freaking out, and I'm not ready to leave yet. I'm gonna get to this point later, but the idea of, you know, spending some time in nature and going for a walk, this is normally the time that I do this, and it's like one of my favorite times of the day because, again, it just takes me out of my head and puts me back into my body. And I only have a few days left of enjoying nice long walks in Toronto, so throw on some headphones and go explore summer while it's still here. So the next thing you can do whenever you're having a bad body image day is to play the check yourself game. And this is a really good game, especially if you have things to do for the day and you're out and about and you're noticing yourself, like, you know, when you like obsessively check in the mirror, fidgeting with yourself, fidgeting with your hair, or there's something in your teeth or whatever, you're constantly checking yourself. Or you could be constantly checking yourself by comparing yourself against what you're seeing on social media, what you're seeing online, your coworkers, your friends. There's two different ways that you can play this. The first one is if you're having one of those days or throughout the day when you catch yourself checking yourself in the mirror. When you catch yourself Instead, make eye contact with yourself, smile, and instantly shift mental focus. Instantly shift your mental focus into focusing on something else. The reason why is this is gonna break that habit, especially if you're having a bad body image day and you haven't had one in a long time. We all know how slippery habits can be, and just having one bad day, not that it means you're gonna have more than one, but if you start letting really bad habits sink in, then it's gonna be easier to repeat the second day. If you instantly break that habit by smiling at yourself, which is introducing like happier energy instead, and it's kind of also like you look yourself in the eye and you're like, I see you, I see what you're doing. You smile, positive energy, and then you shift your mental focus and replace it with something else, breaking the pattern. The other way you can do this is anytime you catch yourself checking yourself by comparing, like going online, social media, people around you, things like that. Same kind of idea, but instead, because you're not looking at a reflection, you can think about something that you're grateful for your body. It could be like, I'm grateful that I can hear right now. I'm grateful I can see right now. I'm grateful that I can feel my heart beating right now. That means I'm alive. I'm grateful I can breathe right now. And then you shift your focus instead. You can just do the smile and shift if you want, if you don't want to have to like go as far as being like, oh, I love this about myself. Like, don't do anything that doesn't feel authentic. I think that sometimes with positive inspiration, we can sometimes go a little far and like say things that we're not actually believing, which is not really doing anything for us. So you don't necessarily have to think like, oh, I love this about myself today, but instead you can just smile at yourself, give yourself the space to be having the day you're having, and then shift your mental focus. Just play the check yourself game. Just check yourself before you wreck yourself, you know? Can you see that this is lit? I feel like you can't tell from back here, but I was trying to create a vibe, you know? So the fourth tip I have whenever you're having a bad body image day is to treat yourself in some way. Now, this can go so many different ways. I mean, you could treat yourself to a bubble bath. You could treat yourself to your favorite TV show. You could treat yourself to anything that you feel like you would want your best friend to do for you in that moment, and then show up for yourself as your best friend. It doesn't even have to be treating yourself. Like if you're lucky enough to be close to your mom or a grandmother, or I don't know, I just feel like sometimes talking to a fellow female when you're having one of those days can really help. And if you can call up your best friend, or, you know, go hang out with your best friend, especially I find like if you can find something that'll make you laugh, something that makes you just genuinely kind of forget about your worries, that always helps. But if that's not possible for you or available to you, then you can, like I said, show up for yourself like your own best friend. Do something for yourself that you know is gonna make you feel better. You could light up some candles and put on a face mask. You could journal. You could grab yourself your favorite kind of coffee. Being outside in nature, just connecting back to the earth, Mother Earth, the truest mother of them all. One of the biggest, I would say, struggles for me when I started to regain my healthy weight back, like literally emphasis on the healthy weight. It's silly that I feel I still get like, I don't know, I still get conflicted by the fact that my brain, anyway, even with working on accepting and then even going a step further than that and loving my body and all of its changes and in all of its shapes, it was hard when it came to putting on clothes. I've always really liked fashion. I've always really liked just piecing together cute outfits, and putting on my clothes that I wore when I was smaller was the most uncomfortable thing ever. It made me not want to leave the house. It made me just like so just bummed out all the time. So now, I will say I'm trying not to shop at places like Urban Outfitters and things like that, because I know that there's definitely better brands, but I was there recently with a friend and I came across a couple tops. One of them is this one, and they're all like comfy t-shirt dresses and oversized sweaters. I grabbed a Nirvana one, and then I grabbed this tie-dye sweater, and I got them all in like fall colors and things. I love when I put on an outfit and I feel good and I feel comfortable in my skin. So this is what I considered my little mini way of treating myself going into the fall time, just grabbing a couple oversized t-shirts and sweaters I've been wearing them like all weekend, and I honestly, I don't know what it is. It puts me in a confident, happier peace of mind. It's not a very easy or comfortable feeling to accept when you're having one of these days. Not a whole lot that it feels like could shift your mindset, so you just can't abandon yourself. That is the main component of this point, is no matter what you're feeling, try and sit through it with yourself. Try not to leave yourself. Try to remind yourself of all of the things that we've talked about in today's vlog. And a lot of the times you wake up the next day and you feel either better or different, or at least just average or content with yourself. It's not always going to feel this way, but the days that these do hit, when you have these tools in your toolkit, you can pull them out and use them for the day and anchor yourself as you get over the rocky part of the waters back to smooth sailing oceans. So there you guys have it. That was today's Fitness Friday. Let me know if you guys have any other Fitness Friday request topics. You can leave them in the comment section down below. I feel like I mentioned when I brought Fitness Fridays back that I wanted it to not just be about working out or like eating healthy. I wanted to share like other sides of health. Things like when you're having a bad body image day, regaining weight, just like all of the things. I feel like there's like an endless well of information out there about health and wellness and fitness, but I guess it's just a matter of sharing the experience like from all sides and all angles, if you will. The constant denominator every time I go to do anything that's health, specifically mental health related, is that life is just a series of ebbs and flows. You can go from feeling like you've figured life out and like you feel good in your bones and you're so excited to just be you one day, and then wake up the next day and just feel like the complete opposite. And that's such a normal part of the human experience. And for that reason, when we normalize those things and we share our tools and share our experiences, then we feel less alone in all this. And we all inspire each other to be like the healthiest versions of ourselves, which is and includes even the days that we feel crappy. And with that, I love you guys all the way to Proxima being back. I hope you guys are getting so excited for YouTuber, guys. It is gonna be such a vibe this year. I've been making so much content. It's about to just pumpkin spice explode in this neck of the YouTube woods. Now that I've planted that seed, I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.